Hi, creatives. Good to see you. I know it's been over a month, but I've been busy, been preoccupied. But you know what? I do my best with these YouTube postings, and sometimes I get a burst of inspiration, and then sometimes I'm just sort of distracted with other things going on. So I apologize if it's taken me a while to get a new episode up. But I'm here and it is November already. It's very strange this time of year. I feel like somebody just pushes on the acceleration pedal and it just speeds up really quickly. So I always find myself this time of year trying to find the break. I just want to kind of slow things down. Anyway, I took a brief trip to Solvang, California. I'm going to show you a little bit of clippings from that later on. But I wanted to talk about, in this episode, I wanted to talk about the importance of collaborating, connecting with other creatives, being in the presence of other creatives, and the importance of not always creating by yourself. And the reason why I'm talking about this is I'm getting ready for my 3-day virtual workshop event happening next week with Roxanne Evans Stout and Seth Apter. And I have been so excited to be collaborating with these two amazing mixed media artists because I get to sort of exchange conversations with them, meet with them, talk about ideas, bounce some ideas off. And I just noticed that just that simple, sort of brief collaborating with them really shifts my energy, my creative energy, and it really dawned on me how important that is. So I wanted to share with you that experience because I want to encourage you also in your in your creative journey and growth and your creative process, that sometimes it's important for us to sort of take a step out of our studio where we are creating alone, sometimes often in our own isolation, and that's okay. That's totally okay because typically artists like to work by themselves and are technically introverted. I know like to have big chunks of when I'm just working by myself, but then I find myself craving the company of other creatives. So sometimes it's good to seek that out. And that could be either in a virtual workshop, a natural classroom, taking a natural class or retreat. Or sometimes it could be maybe you have a few friends who also love art making and creating together, and you guys bring together a party, a creative party where you kind of get together. I know some students who do that where they'll sign up for a workshop and they'll take it all together. And, whatever that is, or however you find a way to connect with other creatives is important. But sometimes even collaborating also in terms of, maybe working on the same project together. A really good idea is, and I've seen artists do this, is where they'll create an art journal and then they'll mail it to a friend or someone else, and they would create a spread or a few pages in that journal, and then that journal kind of gets passed around. That's a form of collaborating. There's also something about when you're in the presence of other creatives, especially in a workshop or a classroom, where, and I've witnessed this in my retreats and in my workshops, how students kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Sometimes we can get stuck in our own loop, right? We get stuck doing the same thing over and over and over, or maybe we get stuck and we're trying to figure it out ourselves, or we're trying to problem solve, or even, figure out what's the next step in the project we're working on. And then a student can come around, or another creative person can come around and say, oh, why don't you try this? And that in itself can open up a whole other perspective and a whole other way of looking at your project or whatever you're working on. That's why it's great to have other creatives around us to help us step out of our loop or step out of our overthinking and help us look at things differently. So that's one of the reasons why it's good to be in a group of other creatives and other people who kind of are working towards the same thing. There's something about, even though you might be in a classroom and everybody's working on the same project and maybe there's some similarities, but I have found in my experience that each individual student has their own approach, their own take, their own preferences, whether it's color or specific collage material, or they just did something that is uniquely their own style. And it's interesting to be around that. It's really good and beneficial to be around that. And like I said, having that creative energy around you shifts your energy as well. So I'm saying it's important to sort of mix it up sometimes when you find that you're spending a lot of time in the studio, your creative space, working by yourself. Sometimes it's good to reach out and get a few people together to just be around other creatives. So that's something that I was thinking about when I started working with Roxanne and Seth. And I'm really excited about this 3-day event because this is the second one that I'm doing, and I'm planning on doing a few of these in 2022 because I really love, again, collaborating with other artists, and also it's just really cool to have 3 consecutive days with different instructors each day, and on top of that, a big group of attendees, students attending the workshop that come all over the world, from all over the world. So that's what's even more exciting is watching these people sign up for these workshops that are coming from Australia, Singapore, Germany, the UK, Canada. It's just very, very cool because we don't always get to gather from all over the world. And this really gives us an opportunity to connect with other people and other creatives from different parts of the world. So I wanted to share that with you. You know, one of the things that is important, if you haven't taken a workshop yet, a virtual workshop, please consider doing that, because I think there is, and here's another thing to think about, is sometimes when we're creating, we can feel a little bit vulnerable in the creative process because we are, trying to do something or trying to create something, and then we often get insecure about what we're doing, second guessing what we're doing, we're doubting ourselves as an artist, as a creative person, we're doubting our own creativity, and we can get to a place of feeling very vulnerable. And what I find is when we have other people in our lives, and especially if it's a really good, encouraging, supportive instructor, I find that in itself can help support us to continue to be creative, to continue that journey and that path to be an artist, because we can get encouragement and support from others, and that's really important. We can find encouragement to take risks in our creative process. So that's really important. And I want to encourage you too to seek out instructors like myself, like Roxanne and Seth. And the reason why I am bringing that up is because I think Roxanne and Seth are great instructors. They're very supportive. They're very encouraging. There is a calmness to both of them. So you can feel, a sense of courage to explore your creativity in a safe environment. And I think that's very important to look for when you are looking for workshops. It's very important to find instructors that are supportive and not necessarily, there's some people out there who can be negative, discouraging, can also not have a self-awareness in terms of what things they say to the students. I've heard horror stories from some students who have had very unpleasant experiences from other art instructors that can be quite damaging to your confidence as an artist, and quite damaging in terms of, again, if you're at a vulnerable place, that could be, discouraging. So I encourage you to seek out those instructors that support you, that have that calmness, and that you can actually be in a safe environment to explore your own creativity. So I probably went on a tangent, but that kind of like bounced all over the place, but I think it's all good and related and all relates. So anyway, I wanted to share that about with you, because that's a very important thing to think about in terms of integrating into your creative journey and growth. And so now I'm going to just show you some snippets of scenes that I actually just was able to videotape around Solvang. And I'll tell you a little bit about Solvang, California, because it's kind of interesting. So this town in California was established from Danish people from Denmark. So they're called Danish American who migrated from Denmark, and they ended up in the United States to kind of find their own place that was away from the weather. So in the 1900s, there were quite a bit of Danish that actually migrated to the Midwest, not Midwest, but Midwest, like South Dakota, Minnesota, all of that. But then they also migrated to California, because those states tend to be also, cool weather, extreme weather in the winter. So they migrated to California and they started a little town. So what's cool about this town is that all the architecture is Danish, all the architecture there. So you're like walking in this really cool Danish town. It is also known for its danishes, its pastries. So you go there and you really want to bring home a box of danishes. So I had my share of danishes. It was good. So I just wanted to share a few snippets of my trip. It was short and sweet. Went there for a wedding, and it's kind of cool. It was just kind of like, this is good to, it's really close by, and I feel like I'm in a completely different place. And I was telling a lot of people, it was almost surreal to be there, because you can pop in there. It only takes about 2 hours from us, and then feel like you're in a whole completely different place. So anyway, I'm going to show you that. I thank you again for watching, and hopefully I can squeeze in a couple of more episodes before the end of the year. I can't believe how fast this is going. Here we are approaching 2022. Can you believe it? It is so bizarre. It's so surreal. I am, like I said, trying to step on the brakes to slow things down. But thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe. I appreciate all of you watching and being my audience and being the inspiration for me to make these episodes. So stay creative, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.